Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today, we have a very special guest. This is Alina. Alina, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
Sure.
All right, well, start it off here, buddy.
All right. My name is Alina. I do a lot of things. I've known Vin for a while, and we've grown a lot
Yeah.
together through the years. I guess titles or labels I have now is I'm a nurse, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and yeah.
A marathon runner.
Oh my God, I'm training for a half marathon
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
I'm not running today. I ran yesterday. I'm running tomorrow, but
So I think a good place to start would be like how we know each other, where we met, if you want to kick it off.
I don't know what year it was, like 2014, maybe
I don't know. Yeah, probably. 2014, 2015.
around there. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I was an environmental scientist, and I was working for the state of New Jersey, where we live.
And you were a big fan of Halloween.
And I've always loved Halloween. Yeah.
That's actually kind of how we almost really
Dude.
started talking.
Yeah.
I forget what I even said. You give like the Halloween vibes, which I don't even know what that means.
I don't know.
But I said that to you. I think we were at MJ's.
Mm-hmm.
We were working, and it was actually around Halloween. And I was like, "Oh, your holiday's coming up," and you were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I feel like you love Halloween," and yeah, I feel like you took offense to it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it
It
offensive.
was weird.
But yeah, I thought it was a funny comment.
It was all right.
So
Yeah, that was a while ago. You were a barback, right?
Yep.
Barback, yeah. And I was a waitress, and then a lot happened since then.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
seriously, yeah. I think it's also funny because you know me from significant others, and then
Yeah.
obviously I know some of your significant others, and
Yeah.
then we're also on this self-growth journey,
Yeah.
and it intertwines, and I mean we've went to weddings together. People thought we were
Oh,
dating.
that's right.
Yeah, so it's funny, but yeah,
Yeah. Self-growth, yeah. Self-love, big self-love girl.
yeah,
And I didn't really even know what that was, I don't think, till a couple years ago. Till I felt like I didn't know what was going on, and I had to figure it out for me. And then
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I'm the only one I have, so
What do you think that stemmed from though? Loaded question.
that's pretty deep. So I have a therapist. I've been going to her for 3 years now, I think, almost. And I actually spoke to her yesterday, and I was telling her I think that I have always been a caring person, but my empathy stems from not always feeling like someone was there to listen to me or be there for me. I kind of was brought up with the idea that you just got to figure it out on your own.
Right.
And it's a little bit traumatic, a little bit good in a sense. I have tough skin, but there was a good chunk of my life where I was tough because I was you're not gonna fuck with me because
Right.
I'm gonna be tough first.
That was the Halloween vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Wednesday Addams, yeah.
It really was. And then also you were CrossFit and
Oh yeah, I did that
you
too.
lifted shit,
Oh, yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
she seems kind of mean, but she's not.
I'm a big softie.
Yeah.
It was big. I was big into CrossFit, Olympic lifting, and then I liked running then because it was part of my training, and I felt strong and powerful.
Do you think that was a way to cope with things you were not dealing with emotionally?
At that point, I was just straight up addicted to working out and looking
Yeah.
good. And at that point in my life, I was counting macros and doing cheat meals, and
I feel like you have a good balance of that now. And
Yeah.
I think that's something that people get into fitness to they say LGN, look good naked.
ooh, I like that
Yeah.
one.
And then it kind of switches to you realize the mental benefits and the growth in it. And I talk about this all the time. Nick's probably thrilled. But yeah, I feel like that's what kind of starts it, and then it switches and people kind of use it as an outlet to cope. But yeah, it sounds like you weren't really doing that back then.
I had nothing else that I cared about at that point because I wasn't happy in my job. But yeah, I would work out before work or sleep in and go to work, and I would be ready to run out the door. I wasn't happy. And then that's how I ended up going back to school to go to nursing school, and then how I ended up here.
What do you think about like switch? Like obviously you switch careers, you switch like paths in a way. Like how do you feel about that? Because I feel like a lot of people are like feel like they're stuck or like, and I talk about it all the time with a lot of different people about like just being stuck in like 9 to 5, and it's like, you know, obviously you do need money to do certain things, to fund certain things, but I think people think there's really no option. And obviously I've switched things, you've switched things. Like how do you feel about that?
I think that people make excuses for a lot of things in their lives. I think that they feel like they have no other options, which isn't the truth. If push came to shove and I was like completely unhappy, I would go work at McDonald's if I had to, you know?
Right.
I would suck it up. I think that no one should stay in a job, in a house, in a friendship, in a relationship for too long if they feel they've overstayed their welcome, and if it's not like aligning with what makes them happy anymore.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it's tough to like know that though, right? Like when you're in it. And then it's also like, well, what if I don't have it? Like a lot of people use a lot of things, especially people, as like dependent, like almost like a crutch.
It's tough because I think I felt that too. Like when I got the job right out of school, I had pension benefits. Everyone was like, you're set till like 55, 60. And I was like, hold up. I'm 22.
Right.
I am not going to drive 2+ hours a day to sit at a desk.
That's psychotic. Where the hell were you driving?
What? Trenton.
Jesus.
Like back and forth. Like,
oh,
you know.
The one way was 2+ hours.
No,
like,
no.
where are we going?
No, but when I was in school and I was doing my unpaid internship, I was driving
Stockton?
an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
From Stockton all the way up to Trenton.
It's a fun college.
Is it?
I had fun visiting.
It was
a
alright.
very good friend there.
I was a bookworm and
Yeah.
did other things that I would just like chill at home a lot.
I did other things and I wasn't a bookworm.
Yeah.
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 But back to what you were saying though, where it's like, if you're not happy in it,
yeah.
to kind of like have the courage to pull the trigger to do something else.
Yeah, it definitely takes courage. I think that I don't really know why people limit themselves. Like but the other side of it is that some people just are complacent. Like some people want to work the 9 to 5. They want to be like regulars at their local bar. Like that to me is equivalent to a slow death. But
Right.
No judgment.
It's all a slow death. So it's really what you choose to do with.
Yeah, but time's ticking, right? Like
it really is.
Yeah.
So obviously I made a career switch as well, and like just thinking personally, like of like you do need something to kind of spark that courage, because without it, like you won't move. And for me, it was fitness, and I think just being able to move my body and like transform my body in the gym, outside of the gym, and then like realizing like, oh, like I'm not capped here. I could change other things. So that's kind of what like propelled it for me. But I feel like people don't have or give themselves that other thing to kind of allow anything else to change. So it's like, oh, I'm just stuck here, and you're not a tree. Yeah.
You don't have roots in the ground.
It's true.
What the hell was I just gonna say? Feeling stuck. I feel like people think that like money matters so much, and like, oh well, if I leave this and that, but like literally you will always figure it out. Like you have to, you know, like, and it's not the end of the world. Like if you try something and fail, it's better than not trying at all, because you'll literally never know.
It's true.
So
what's also like, you try it, you fail, you kind of could go back to the drawing board. Okay, where did we fail? All right, let's fix that. And you try again, you fail again, and it's like, all right, well, let's fix that. And at some point, you're going to be able to piece it all together and figure it out.
I know what I was going to say. Career-wise, I knew that like I wasn't fulfilled at all. Like I was straight up like sitting at a desk.
I don't think a lot of people are.
No, they're not. And and I think when you're at a different level of like awareness, self-awareness, and like what you're doing day in and day out doesn't align with like what you care about, like you have no choice. You owe it to yourself. Like you gotta change something.
Yeah, I agree. I think certain people aren't happy with like a 9 to 5 or a traditional job, but I think other people really are. Like I always use the example of my older sister, like white picket fence, really cool wedding, awesome husband, loved Gerard.
Cute little baby.
Adorable baby. Yeah. And it's like, this is what she wanted. She built it. She did it. Yeah. And she's like the happiest I've ever seen her, because for years there she wasn't happy. I'll tell you that. Janine wasn't nice. She used to throw a lot of remotes at me. And now she's like thriving, and it's like, it's cool. And like, that's kind of opened my perspective, where it's like, you know, you get in this entrepreneur type mindset, and it's like, oh, you know, you need to work 24 hours a day till your eyes bleed. And then when you go home, you got to go run a marathon. And then it's like, you don't. And like, everybody has a different level of happiness. And like, I think, and I said this to somebody else as well, but like, just define success to you. And I think write that down, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else.
No.
Like, if, you know, especially something you've done that I think is so cool is like, you go to Hawaii often, and like, you spend like, how long do you spend in Hawaii?
Last time I was there for like a month.
Right. Like, that's not, people think of Hawaii, they think of like the, you know, the resort, you're spending thousands of dollars, and it's like, it's not how you do Hawaii.
No.
So you kind of want to walk through that. But that's like happiness, and that's like a form of success. And it's like, regardless of if you're at the resort or if you're like hanging out with locals, like, you're in Hawaii, and you get to stay there for a month. Most people could only do it for like, what, a week, 10 days. So yeah, if you kind of want to go into that.
Yeah, last time I was there, I was staying with some friends and family. I just like, anywhere I go, even here, I try and make it a point to like have days where like they're like self-care days, but I just don't have a plan. I just pack my car up with some snacks, some water, you know, whatever kind of shoes I think I'm gonna need if I'm gonna go hiking, if I'm gonna go running, whatever. Longboarding. I like to longboard. Haven't done that in a while. Yeah, and just explore. I'll literally just like put in All Trails is my favorite app that I use. I'll just put in like a random hike. I'll go for a hike and then find a coffee shop, and then just like, I like to spark conversation with people.
Like random people.
Random people.
Yeah.
I love to smile.
Yeah. That's a fun thing to do.
Yeah. You know, I just like smile at random people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know. The world's so big. There's lots of people to meet, lots of things to experience, but yeah, in Hawaii, just, you know, I would literally just like pack the bag like before sunrise, go and do a hike at sunrise, and like figure it out from there.
Yeah. And you were kind of like piecing together, staying with family, staying with friends. Yeah. And then like meal wise, obviously everything is exported, so it's expensive. Like, how do you kind of?
Well, I would say it's pretty equivalent to here.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't drink milk and I don't eat eggs, so like those are things.
It's fucking expensive.
Apparently,
eggs are expensive.
Sheesh, I know. Yeah, but a lot of things are imported there, but it's pretty equivalent. People think it's like crazy, but if you know how to live within your means and budget accordingly, you know, like you can say New Jersey's expensive. It is.
Sure. So you kind of take like a minimalist approach when you go there, and it kind of
in life in general.
I think it's like the way to be. Like I go run in the woods for a couple hours a day. It makes me feel good.
I jump in the ocean just about every day. It makes me feel good.
Yeah. It's those things. I think, so what do you kind of say? Because like I ask questions to kind of help navigate things in my own mind. Like, what do you say to people that it's like every day can't be like sunny, and like, you know, every day you can't go to a coffee shop and like go for a hike and like sit and talk to a random person in a coffee shop. Like, how do you kind of combat that conversation with people that like to, I don't want to say bring others down, but like live very realistic.
Yeah, they like to poo-poo on others' happiness. Yeah. Misery loves company, I'll tell you that. I definitely experience that a lot in certain places. So with that, I like rely on my daily routines. I do things that make me happy, that bring joy. I always listen to like calming music. I have candles lit. I'll like force myself to wake up a couple extra minutes earlier, because like that time is precious for me, you know. It doesn't happen every day, but also like I'm not perfect, and if I wanted to do the whole like laundry list of things that make me happy, I would have to quit my job, and I need to pay rent. So so I do things like I try and read like 10 pages of a book a day. I did the 75 hard at the end of last year, which was dope. That definitely helped a lot with like the consistency, and the accountability, the self,
like time management. Yeah, it does.
Definitely. Yeah. Cause you make excuses and your ass is walking at, 10 at night. It's freezing cold.
Yeah. It's not fun.
So I like to read. I like to make sure I drink warm water in the morning. I like to meditate 10 to 15 minutes. And sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's literally like laying on my yoga mat, or sometimes it's just going for a walk. Sometimes it's running at sunrise. And journal. Journaling is really important. And I actually, to be honest, had to like YouTube how to journal at first. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I do? Dear diary. Like, no.
Yeah. I don't do that either.
No.
Maybe I should switch up the format.
Some days I'm like, okay, this is what I did. This is how I felt. And you know what's actually really important that I got from a Jay Shetty podcast? I think it was him and Humble the Poet. They were talking about how they like to reflect on how they acted that day, whether if it was good or bad. And if it's bad, like, why did you do that? Why,
Yeah.
you know, like, I think that's very important. And all these things like compile for like, to be more self-aware. And
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the main things that I prioritize in my life.
So it's like, even if you can't, like if you have work, long shift, can't hike that day, it's like, it sounds like you kind of just keep the habits that keep you grounded kind of lead to just better days overall. And it's like, obviously every day isn't sunny and 70 and you could just go jump in the ocean and like hang out all day. Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think it's also like, and I always say like, I kind of live between like these like two, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like two paradoxes of like Jay Shetty and like David Goggins. And it's like, I think there is something to like forcing yourself to go run, like, and it doesn't have to be running. It's, for me, it's running, but like, you know, going to do a hard track workout or going to run a 20-mile long run. Like, just after that, you feel way better and you feel like, wow, like I could do things. You like almost like stack confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. I like to talk about it as like the duality of my mind, because I'm very much so like, I'm very zen, but I'm also like, I can go squat 200 pounds for reps right now. Like, I can still do that, you know, like I can force myself to struggle through that, or I can sit here and be nice to myself and just do nothing, read a book, relax, meditate. And I think it's important to have both of those sides, because if not, you're just going through life like this.
Yeah.
You know? And like, what happens there? You don't learn anything. You don't experience anything new. You don't learn through your failures and your struggles. And that's honestly like the ugly, deep, dark parts of life is where like the most growth happens.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then right there, obviously we've both had like a lot of family things go on, but like, not to pry into it, but I feel like,
right.
Yeah, I'm going to pry into it.
Go ahead.
Basically, like I feel like really a lot changed for you when everything kind of happened with your aunt who lived in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a big, like, kind of like springboard for you.
Catalyst for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went to visit her back in beginning of 2019, just for fun for 3 weeks, I took all my PTO. I was like, I'm just going to like prance around, just hang out,
Live in Hawaii.
Live in Hawaii. Literally live off the mangoes off her tree and just do whatever I wanted. Wake up, sunrise. Yeah, that was cool. That was awesome. I was there for 3 days and she was like, hey, we have to talk. I was like, oh no, what'd I do?
Yeah.
And she was like, no. Remember when I told you like I was in remission? I was like, yeah, you do good. Like,
right.
She's like, yeah, no, I have 6 months to live. And I was like, oh.
Jesus.
All right. I was like, well, that really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, but weirdly enough, like, this is perfect timing. I'm going to leave my job and I'll just come be with you.
Right.
And she's like, no, you're not. I was like, I am. I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to go into nursing and like, I'll just be here until you don't need me anymore. And she was like, all right, fine. At the time I was dating my ex who, like, when I came back home, I told him my plan and he was like, well, what about your life here? And I was like, we'll make it work. Don't worry about it. And actually, like, a month or two later, his mom got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And it was like both my worlds were like crumbling.
You were really close to her.
Yeah, she was my second mom. I loved her. I still love her.
Yeah.
She's my girl. Yeah, so that was rough. And where were you going with that? That was just terrible. That was sad. That was sad.
Really
the
sad.
catalyst for changing my life.
Yeah.
Woo, okay.
But yeah, so like I feel personally, like, obviously I knew you at the time, but I think at first initially, like, it fucked you up, and then it kind of made you stronger and kind of like made you more resilient, and then kind of even showed you, which, like, I've dealt with a lot of fucked up shit like that in my life too, where it's like, this is fragile. Like, this whole thing is fragile. Like, we look at it every day like we could just, we have tomorrow, and we truly, you have no fucking idea. Like, you really, really don't. And it sounds really, really cliche, but it's so true. Like, and I've seen it firsthand, and with family, my mom, my uncle, like, and just even with myself, like, I've dealt with a lot of like honestly, just anxiety and depression. And like, I was at a point, I talked about in like the second episode ever on this, but like, Like I actually gave up. That's why like everything now means so much to me now. And I know people see it and we talk about it all the time. Like people see it and it's like cliche and it's like, oh God, like he's trying to be like a social media influencer. But I'm like, no, I just want to help people because like I was at a point I did not leave my room for like 5 or 6 months. Like, and I just gave up. And like, I look at where I came from that to where I am now. Like I'm gonna go to Arizona in like 2 weeks to go run a marathon.
Yeah.
Like in what fucking world?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
one.
Yeah.
But I think that like it's good. Yeah. The duality of like the highs and the lows and like the good times and the bad times, they really like put life into perspective. Like that whole experience for me was rough and I actually didn't know how to navigate my feelings. I didn't know how to deal with that. That's like it turned my world upside down and I felt like I had nothing else but myself. And I turned to like this self-love journey and I just literally sat in it, like doing the shadow work and like calling yourself out on the bullshit. It's so painful. It's so horrible.
Yeah.
You know, like people come up to me now, they're like, I wish I could do all of the things you do. I wish I could be as positive as you. Like I love like what you're about. And I was like, that's a compliment. Thank you. But also like
comes from a lot of hurt.
Yeah, I don't wish it upon anybody.
Right.
But like, there's no way to get to that next level other than to like get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. You kind of need the really, really bad stuff.
Yeah, it's ugly. But with that, I wouldn't have known that I was ready to go into nursing. I wouldn't have known that I am the healer that I am.
Right.
I knew I cared a lot, but I never knew that like my purpose is to help others.
Right.
And like physically, emotionally, mentally, just to like be that voice of like, hey, like you matter.
Right.
I'm here for you. Like you want to trap and dump? I'm here. Like, okay, you know. Yeah. But then like it's also important to have your circle, like you being there for me. Like there was some times I didn't want to fully give up, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
And like, you know, a good friend is really important to have. And yeah, we've definitely been through some.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Some things.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody kind of is here to help other people, whether they realize it or not, or whether they realize in what capacity or way.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, it's unfortunate that some people are placed in your life to teach you the ugly things that you wish you didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, because like someone will just come out of nowhere and be like, you know, they sound amazing, and then all of a sudden they're just like tearing your walls down, and you lost yourself completely, and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah. No, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And then even I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and it kind of goes somewhat along with this. I feel like you're on a similar path with me, where it's also like, obviously we're both single, but it's really, really hard to like give up what you're working on and yourself, because you really are always working on yourself. It's kind of hard to give that up to like let someone else in after you've done a lot of work.
Bro, I'm selfish.
Yeah.
I
suck.
I
do. I'm so bad with it.
No, because you are worth so much, and I tell you this every day.
That's right, bitch.
That's right. That's right.
Strong, independent woman.
No, you know what you bring to the table, and this is another reason why I'm big on traveling, is because like there's only so many people in like our 50-mile radius, whatever, you know, and the world is humongous. There's like 7.8 billion people.
Yeah.
195 countries. Like,
would you Google some shit before this?
People,
like, how did you know that?
No, there's plenty of people in this world that you need to meet.
It's true.
And like, you know, I doing my ocean dip last week, I was like mad and angry, and I was like, I have so many things to do, but I live like 5 minutes from the beach, right? And so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go. It'll be quick. It was like freezing cold out. It was really low tide, so I had to walk out super far to be fully submerged. I try and go for like 3 minutes at a time. And I turn around and walk out of the water, and this lady in this like long black like winter coat with these like walking sticks is like jumping up and down, like cheering me on. I'm like, hi.
Yeah, what's going on over here? Yeah.
I'm like, ah. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't hear you. So I like jog up to her, and she's like, I'm so glad like God brought me to you today, like whatever, like the universe brought me to you today, because, you know, I've been like struggling lately, and like I think I've read things, and I've heard that it's really good to like go and do like cold plunging. It's good for like healing and recovery. and like inflammation and stuff. And she's like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I could be that for you. And then she starts like tearing up, and she's like, I'm a breast cancer survivor, you know, and like I really struggle with like people being like negative, and it's like really tough because like, you know, every day is a blessing.
Right.
And she was like, I'm so glad I met you, and you know, now I'm like inspired to just like do new things, and we like connected, and she told me about this place she does like yoga at, and for like cancer survivors, and I was like, oh my God, like just the universe is crazy.
Yeah, like it probably fueled your whole day.
I was
whole
just
week.
like,
Yeah. And it was one of those where like you probably, like you said, you didn't want to go,
no,
and
I
then
didn't
you ended
wanna
up
go.
going.
Yeah.
I feel like I could think of so many examples of like things like that happening. Like I went to the gym like a half hour later because something happened, or like whatever, and then you see someone or meet someone or talk to someone, and it's like it sparks something else. Yeah, it's so weird. Do you believe in like coincidences?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, as it should. Like, and when I like derail my plan for the day and like something happens, I'm like, oh, something new, something else is meant to happen.
You kind of like accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Because everything is like a choice, and like everything leads you to like a new path in like a weird way.
Yeah.
Even just like the course of your day.
It's true. What's actually funny too, because you know my buddy Dan.
Dan?
Yeah, you know Dan.
That hybrid guy?
Dan Marquez, yeah, big hybrid athlete.
Okay.
So we've been talking about how we want to do the, it's a funny name, rim to rim to rim.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's the Grand Canyon.
Okay, got it.
It's, yeah. So it's basically you run the Grand Canyon. I think it's like 40 something plus miles, whatever. Awesome experience, obviously. But it's like everything I've seen today has been popping up about like, oh, you got to travel. And this was something that like, I'm going to Arizona in a couple of weeks. And I was like, oh, am I really going to go back in the spring? Like I was even debating it because I was like, oh, I have Italy coming up with my mom.
Oh, that's right.
At the end of the year. And I'm going to Aruba in the summer. I was like, I need to like cool with traveling, like spending money like that. And then I was just like, everything today was like, oh, you need to travel. So I was like, I texted Dan today. I was like, yo, let's just sign up for the whole thing as soon as we can.
That?
What?
It's in when? Spring?
We're going to do it like probably like April. Yeah. We're both April babies. We found out.
I know that.
Yeah. So we, no, so it's just funny. Like, and it's true. Like you have all these things that point to something that it's like, again, I have no idea why I'm supposed to go there. Maybe I'll tear my ACL one there. Like I have no idea, but you don't know. But you don't know. Like you don't know. And it's like, you're supposed to go there for a reason. Well, who knows? Maybe during the rehab of the ACL, the nurse is my wife. Like you don't fucking know, but like you truly don't know. And I just have, like you said, there are these like things like kind of like I don't believe in God personally. Like I don't not believe in God.
Wow.
Yeah, I was fucking,
Sheesh.
I don't not believe in God. I don't know what I believe in. And I think too many people are, I believe in something. There's something there. Yeah, there's got to be something. I don't think it's a guy with long hair.
Cursing you right now.
My grandma slapped the shit out of me. I don't not believe in God. I do believe in something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what heaven looks like. I don't have any answers like that. And I don't think anybody does.
No.
Fucking liars out there.
Yeah.
But
oh man, I got a funny story about that.
But yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like a pull and like a push sometimes, and I'm like,
energy.
you got to do it. Yeah. But yeah, so why you believe in God? No, you believe in the universe.
Yeah.
So I think that goes down a rabbit hole though, because then it's like,
you want to go?
Mercury's in retrograde, and I'm like over here, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means. But then sometimes, and I will give this to you, I was in a little bit of a slump, and this shit apparently just got a retrograde, and I saw some girl post, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like how, like I don't know. You don't know. You really don't know. But yeah, go for it.
What was I gonna? You want to talk about it?
Yeah, go for it. I don't give a fuck.
Mercury being in the microwave.
And is that what it is?
No.
It's retrograde. What?
It's the phones.
What? Oh.
It really does mess with technology. Yeah.
All right, let's go into it a little bit.
It's the towers.
Towers.
Like the 5G networks and shit.
Literally the pull of the planets. Like when it
has something to do with it too.
They're saying that like
gotta get you a mic.
Frequency within like towers connecting satellites connecting.
You believe in that stuff?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You believe in God?
Do I believe in God?
Yeah.
No.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in God? Do you believe? So go into your thoughts on like the universe and like your beliefs in that, because I think obviously you touched on Reiki.
Reiki. Yeah.
Reiki
too. I'm Reiki too. Sir.
So like if you kind of want to dive into that.
Different? You feel any difference? Did you feel anything?
Oh yeah, you did it on me, even though we weren't.
No, I did distant Reiki for you.
My knee has been feeling better. So, listen, this might be proof in the pudding. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Chocolate or vanilla?
Honestly, pudding? I could go either way.
No, thanks.
I'll do anything once.
Okay.
What do you... What? Vanilla? Yo, we got to get you a mic.
All right.
What do you think? So, yeah, kind of go into, like, your thoughts on the universe, your thoughts on, like, that.
So on this journey that I think I really like delved into, which is weird because like when my aunt passed and my ex's mom passed, I also started nursing school, which is like one of the most traumatic things a person can go through.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like an aggressive thing.
But I hear that a lot.
It's just really terrible.
Yeah, a lot of girls don't like nurses. A lot of people, sorry.
Yeah.
I've only
There's nurses.
spoken with girls that there are nurses.
Nurses, yeah.
I've seen
I'm not a fan.
Meet the Fockers.
Really? Oh, good movie.
He was a nurse. But yeah. So you started nursing school.
Nursing school, and I met one of my really good friends, Alex March. She's a medium. She's a healer. And she her and a couple of my other friends, like, really started to, like, speak these words to me. And I was like, this really resonates more than I, like, realized.
Yeah.
And then I started spending time with our mutual friend, Toby, who
she's the best.
Yeah, she's the best. And she's like, you can't deny yourself, like, these like, messages that are being, like, shown to you, like, repetitively. Like, you're a healer. You're meant to, like, help people in whatever way. I had been practicing yoga for 10 years before I finally signed up to get my teaching certification, which is cool. That was an emotional experience in itself as well. But
you just graduated that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. Namaste.
Oh, yeah, namaste.
Yeah, but the universe is crazy. I feel like when you have a level of self-awareness and a level of intuition, you just kind of can't deny the things that are continually shown to you. It's weird because I feel like I know things before people say things. I feel like I know people before they start to, like, come into my life, and, like, I'm usually a pretty good judge of character.
Do you think that's awareness, or you think that's, like, superpower? Like, I don't know, it's not superpowers, but you know what I mean? Like,
I think there's a difference. I think there's levels. I think I think I am very self-aware, but, like, I would say that my intuition and my, like, awareness is at a different level than yours. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you kind of put mine down there. It sounded like
no.
I'm just kidding. It sounded like yours was higher, that's for sure.
I mean,
I think you're definitely more spiritual.
Yeah, more
so
spiritual.
Do you think it really all kind of stems from awareness, or you really think there's, like, an outside power? Because I don't know. I'm asking because I truly don't know what the fuck I believe in. Like, me personally, I think I also think it's funny because, like, I'm a little spiritual.
You are. You tap in a little bit.
Yeah, I tap in.
Tap in.
So, like, I think that's funny because, like, someone on the outside looking in that doesn't really know me.
They think
obviously,
you're a cop.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Everybody thinks I'm a fucking cop. I'm not a cop anymore. But I think people would never assume, like, well, this kid meditates every morning. It's like, I do. I journal every day. But, like, I think it's funny, like, the preconceived ideas and boxes we can put people in. But at the same time, I also don't know what I believe in. I just know what makes me feel good and what keeps me grounded. But this is where, kind of go into, I feel like you have much stronger spiritual beliefs than I do.
I'm really big on energy. So Reiki is, like, healing energy work, and everything has energy.
Yeah.
Like words, like feng shui, like,
What the fuck is feng shui?
how things are set up.
Oh, okay. I really didn't.
You don't know it?
No.
Nick
Feng shui.
knows stuff.
He's
Get
smarter
with
than
the
me.
shit, man.
He's really smart.
He is.
So, all right, I do agree with everything is energy because even, like, positivity, like, you kind of put it out. Of course, you can't, like, force things, but the more things you speak into existence, like, I think you need to do work to a certain extent, but people read affirmations and do all that stuff. I do as well. And I think that stuff really does work.
Yes, but there's also, like, a limiting factor of, like, that podcast you sent me yesterday.
Goggins?
Yeah, he was talking, him and that guy were talking
Chris
about,
Williamson?
like, you could scream words into a mirror.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you could do the physical work, but if your chakras are blocked and you're just like, all right, I'm just doing this because, like, someone told me to and it might work or whatever, like, the energy's not going to flow through you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you're attuned, like the energy is not created or destroyed. Like, you're just a vessel for moving it. And like that's what Reiki is. You can do it physically on a person when you're with them. You can do it distant. It's pretty cool. I actually, the day after I finished my Reiki 2 certification, I like used my Reiki on a patient, which was insane. I was like fighting to not have her.
I'm just fucking with you.
You know what?
You don't have to answer that.
Okay, fine. I won't. But she, we were fighting to not have to intubate her again. She had just been discharged from the ICU. She was there 37 days.
Jeez.
It was rough, and she was having a tough time. She was super anxious. She was like productive coughing, and we couldn't like figure it out. And her oxygen sats were dropping like really bad, like unsafe. And so and she was like, I'm really hot. And I went and got her like a cold cloth for her forehead. And I always carry my essential oils on me. Mm-hmm. You know, essential oils, I always have like some kind of crystals in my pocket. So I just grab some oils and I just like rub my hands together. And then I just like, so there's also a kind of Reiki you can do, which is like beaming Reiki. Like you can like physically move the energy through the body, but you can also use like focus on a point and like send Reiki through your eyes, which is pretty intense. So I just like had my hand on her shoulder and my hand on her head to just calm her down. And then I was like looking at her throat and her lungs. Mm-hmm. And then her oxygen sats just like started to rise and she was like coming down. It was pretty crazy.
Now, I don't personally, but what do you, because I don't know, again, I don't know what I believe in. So I feel like for me to belittle what anybody else believes in is just stupid, because I don't even have something like so strong that I have pulled towards. What do you say to people that are like, oh, that's bullshit? Or like, you know what I mean? Like the first thing you said, beams in your eyes. I was like,
I know, it sounds crazy.
Superman shit. Like,
I know.
But what is the first thing? Like, how do you kind of combat that? Where it's like, I truly think, believe whatever you want. If it makes you a better person, makes you happier, fuck it, who cares? But what do you say to people that have like the negative like connotation on Reiki and that type of healing?
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not going to work on someone who's closed off, you know?
Sure.
So whatever. And
then something else I want that you touched on, we obviously talk about a lot, but it's like just like your work in general. Like, and I don't mean, well, obviously Reiki as well, but like more nursing. Like I know obviously coming from a police officer background myself, like I've seen things that like, you know, like I used to say it all the time, like I really so happy that my sisters were never police officers.
Yeah.
Like, and like, you know, you see things that are fucked up and it becomes normal, and it's like, how do you kind of combat that? And like, yeah.
Sometimes I call you and cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I just have to let it out. Sometimes I straight up just have to like blast music on my way home. I have to just process it. Sometimes that's like through therapy, that's like talking to a friend and just like getting it out. Some things are really rough. And what I struggle with the most is I'm very empathic, and the whole reason why I'm in healthcare is because I care.
Right.
And just as in you can meet someone who's not as self-aware as you're going to work with people who aren't as self-aware,
right,
or who don't care as much. And then it becomes an internal battle where you're like, I got to pick and choose. Like, what am I going to fight for? What am I going to really stand my ground for? Like, who am I going to butt heads with? Because there are things that, like, really don't sit right with me, but, like, it doesn't matter to the next person. And I'm like, that's not even, like, proper, like, nurse protocol.
Yeah.
Or ethical. Like, what are you doing here, you know?
Yeah.
Just to walk around and, like, complain, like, misery loves company. Bro, I have to walk into the bathroom and lock myself in the bathroom and take 3 deep breaths sometimes because I'm like, the yuckiness of the conversation that's going on, no.
But so like, as far as like, you know, like something traumatic happens with like someone's elder, and then obviously like, you know, that would make me think of like people in my family. So I know I'm sure you feel the same way. Like, how do you kind of, so you kind of just like do the things that keep you grounded to kind of combat that? Because
I don't know how the people I work with don't practice these things that are like important to your own like mental health, physical health. Like, I mean, that's a whole nother, you know, I could go on, but it's sad. Sometimes I'll text my parents and be like, hey, can you go to the gym today? Like, did you eat healthy? Like, you know, cause I constantly see people around my parents' age, like COVID was hard. Right. One of the first ladies, I was doing CPR on her for 2+ hours. She was my mom's age, and I couldn't even talk to my mom for 3 days after. It was pretty sad.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. And then you have people like COVID's not real, and I'm like, okay, I'm not
That's a whole nother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's tough. Like I think there's obviously these jobs that people work that make you numb to other areas of your life, and like you said, like you have an instance where something reminds you of family, and it kind of makes you do personal inventory as far as like yourself, and then I'm sure like you said, you text your mom and dad. It's like, are you eating healthy? Like, are you taking care of yourself? And it's like, of course, we should always be doing those things, but it's scary that it takes the bad shit to make you think of it.
Yeah. It's really good to keep things in perspective. I think a lot of people also just like take a lot of things for granted. Yeah. Their own life, the people in their life, like their own health.
Yeah.
You know, it's
true.
Being a person that cares about like mental, physical, and like health, overall wellness. I feel like people feel uncomfortable sometimes talking to me about it because they look at me and they're like, oh, she drinks a lot of water, she eats her vegetables, and I'm like, I'm not judging you.
Right.
If I can be that person in your life that is like inspiring you to do those things, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, and I also like personally just don't like to drink. I just don't drink, and I don't have a problem not drinking, being around people drinking, but they'd be like, it's either why aren't you drinking, or like, oh, like I really wish I could do that.
Yeah.
You can, but you're gonna keep make excuses, like, right. You know, so it's just personal choices, whatever.
The drinking ones, I haven't drank in a while, and like I almost like do everything to stay away from it now because, and not that like I'm not even tempted, but I hate the whole scene now, but it's also like it's kind of isolating yourself in our age range because that's the norm, like, and it's fucked up that that's the norm, but it is.
Self-isolation is a thing that you definitely experience on the self-love, self-growth journey.
Yeah.
And then there will be people that you experience. You're like, oh yeah, like I journal, or I'm on this like path too. Don't bullshit me. No, you're not.
Right.
Like, you know, I can see right through you. And, you know, or they can be like, oh, like I eat healthy all week and then like I'll just go out and party, and like that's fine. But like all you're doing is like, you know, pushing yourself back for your own growth.
Yeah. I think the issue with that is that like some people like certain things make them happy. Like I was in a place where like during COVID, I played a lot of Call of Duty. Like I love Call of Duty, but like now, a ton. But now like video games don't personally serve me. Yeah. So I think certain people do have things that they actually enjoy and that they do. Yeah. But I think a lot of people just don't know what they're doing, so they just like mindlessly, you know, kind of do things to pass time. And again, I do that in certain areas too. It's like, do I have to go back to the gym for a second time? No, but like I want to. But again, it's, you also look at it like, well, I'm not going out drinking and feeling like shit tomorrow and putting myself in a worse place physically. Like I'm going to the gym. Sure, I might get a little more sore, and I guess, you know, you give and you get, but I don't know. I think it's just like it's tough to tell other people what to do, but at the same time, I think a lot of us kind of don't know exactly what we want to do.
I think a lot of people don't even know themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a problem.
Yeah, like it's a huge problem. Like people don't. I remember my friend told me, I don't know, like going on 10 years ago now, maybe even, he was like, you ever just like sit with yourself? I'm like, what do you mean? Sit there, twiddle my thumbs, like sit with my thoughts? What? Yeah. And now that's like my favorite part of my day.
Was that Podcast Dan?
No, his name's Marcus.
I love Podcast Dan.
Podcast Dan does that?
No.
Podcast.
Your friend.
Oh,
yeah.
My Dan. Oh, yeah, no, we didn't talk about that. Cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think people could like get to know themselves?
Wow, where would you even start? Where did I start?
Fitness.
Yeah, I think that's like a big catalyst. But like I was an athlete my whole life. It was never something new for me. Like when I decided not to go away to college right out of high school, I was a personal trainer. Right. And then I went right into CrossFit, and like so that's been the constant in my life, you know. Yeah. And then with yoga, like yoga was never really physical for me. It was always mental. Yoga is like how I live my life.
But if you look at even that, and sorry to cut you off, but like even that is growth, because like you went from like an athlete to lifting to CrossFit to yoga. So like even you've grown jiu-jitsu. In that jiu-jitsu. I got to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. You want to go?
I went a couple times. You know, there's something about, I know, there's something about just getting tossed around. Yeah. God, that was weird. No, there's something about just getting like it's it's very humbling. Jiu-jitsu is really,
yeah.
really humbling. And I think that's cool. And I think I would appreciate it now. When I went, I did not appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you would for
I was
sure
like,
appreciate
fuck
it now.
this. I'm in good shape. This kid that's smaller than me is not going to like
It's not how it works, buddy.
fucking ragdoll me. And he did.
Yeah.
It was a big problem.
Fuck your ass
Ego.
up. Yeah.
Ego. Jiu-jitsu helps with
Leave
ego.
it at the door.
Yeah.
And it's really good because it's really good for breathing, and it's like survival.
Yeah.
You're just like, you have to like breathe, you know, and you're like, you're not speaking, you're like, you know, in your head, your thoughts, and you're trying to think. It's like human chess. It's also, you can equate it to like violent yoga. It's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah. It's true.
Good for your mental.
Something I wanted to go back to was like, and you spoke about nursing, like as a police officer, it was probably one of my like last couple weeks of work. I don't know if I've ever spoke about this, but they were like, I think like 2 homicides.
Yeah, you told me about
Yeah,
that.
a couple days or a week or a couple days apart. Like it was insane. Me and my partner were like, what, are we like cursed? Like this is like crazy.
Yeah.
And like you're sitting there and it's just like, it's hard to, it becomes your job, right? Like it is your job, obviously. But like even you're in the hospital, the doctors are telling the family that mom, dad, sister, brother passed away, and you're sitting there and it's like, I remember, and it sounds awful, but I remember getting mad at the reaction of the people, of the family of the guy that passed away.
Yeah.
Like they started freaking out, running around the hospital. Now it's like my job, my partner's job to like run after them and like keep them somewhat like okay and contained. And it's like, I'm like, oh, well, like I have to go home in 30 minutes. And like, I really sat there, like I drove home, and that sounds fucked up, but I drove home that night and I was like, this is fucked up. Like this is a fucked up thing that someone has to do for a living. And obviously I love cops. Yeah, that's probably like whatever fucking these days, like people all over the place with that stuff. But like, but I was a cop. I have extreme love for police officers.
Yeah.
Of course, I think there's shitty people in every profession. So I think that whole argument's just stupid. But it's an insane job. Like it really is. Same with nursing. Like these people that are on the front lines of these things, like it's crazy what you deal with. And then like it fucks you up. And it's like, well, why is this person disgruntled? And it's like, because of that. Like you just watch, you don't know how to process that. You're not processing that. You're thinking about your life. And then when you do sit down with it, it's like, fuck. Like I literally drove home one night and I was like, how am I going to get mad at someone for running out of a hospital room when you just found out like your dad died? And I'm like, you know, like I'm worried about going home on time. Like that's fucking insane.
Yeah. How did I get here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like you become so numb to like what's actually going on that you like lose yourself. And it was a scary, like fucked up place to be. And I was just like, this is dark. Of course I worked in like an area that wasn't great either, but like, you know, things happen everywhere, especially in your line of work and my line of work. Like you see things with children, you see things with, there's crazy stuff. Like one of my friends at the police department that I worked at, I don't even know why I'm acting like I can't say it. I could say it. I worked in Jersey City, but one of my friends caught a baby. A guy threw a baby off a balcony and he caught the child.
Oh my God.
I know. And I think like, I don't know how often it's been. I think like it happened around Christmas or something. And he posted like that he saw the child on Christmas. The guy that caught, the police officer that caught the baby, saw the child for Christmas and then saw the child on its next birthday. And like every time he posted, I'm like, yo, that's so fucking cool. Like, but we like that stuff we hero, like, you know, you look at it in such a great light because it's amazing, obviously.
Right.
And like that guy's just, he's like probably one of the best police officers that I know. But you know, there's people like that out there doing that every day and like they really care. And like he's not worried about going home on time and stuff like that. So like I think a lot of people don't take inventory too. And this kind of goes back to what we're talking about as far as like doing what you actually align with. Like that just didn't align with me because it was making me someone I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's same with nursing. Like it's insane. And like you're supposed to sit there and I don't even know if there is real ways to like just actually know that and like cope with that and like actually deal with that. Like you watch someone, like I remember one of the instances we chased a kid that shot the person.
Yeah.
And it's like you're dealing with that and then you go to the hospital and it's like now you're seeing the other side of it. First of all, you're dealing with the violent side of it, of the person who did the act. Now you're going to the other side and seeing the people that are grieving. It's like, how do you fucking process that? You can't, especially in like a day. And then now you got to go to work the next day. Like, it's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And of course somebody has to do it, but like, it's just fucked up. I don't think we give enough people credit for what really goes on.
Which is why I go back to that. No one should stay in a job or a situation or a place for too long.
Yeah.
Like, I guess kudos to the people who work a job and then like retire and like that's their life. And they're like, oh yeah, I put in 30 years at Joe's Crab Shack, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Never been there.
Good for you. I don't even, is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it? It's gone, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it was in Eatontown.
It was in the mall.
Right? Yeah.
Fucking Joe's.
Why did I
Crash
even
Out.
say that? Joe's Pizza. I don't know.
Joe's Pizza. But that goes back to, because I had a big complex with this, and that goes back to like that entrepreneur mindset where it's like everybody has to build their own thing, and it has to be this $1 million company, and you need to live on $1 million homes and have yachts. And again, that's not what you mean. But
No.
the same way that we could look at people that it's like, well, what if like a guy really loved making pizza or really loved, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know. Like, for me, being a police officer wasn't it.
Yeah.
That police officer that caught the child, that guy goes to work every day and like, first of all, crushes his job, just a really good police officer, but like, he loves it. So like there's just different levels of, you need to find out to find happiness, to find success for yourself. And I think that's how you build a life you enjoy.
Yeah, as long as you love what you do, then that's cool. Stay there. That's fine. But I know that my outlook on life is there's so much to do, so much to see, so many people to encounter, so much to learn.
Yeah.
Like, just from like a quick 5-second convo. Dude, someone told me about free coffee Tuesdays at Wawa, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll download the app and get free coffee on the way to work.
Why wouldn't you?
So I started going. I go to the one in, I think it's technically like Manasquan on the way to work.
Yeah.
The guy at the front desk, his name is Dean, the sweetest man. He just is like, how are you today? Like, you know, happy Tuesday. And I'm like, it's not free coffee Tuesdays anymore, but I come here to see you because you literally make my day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go to work and I have a shit day for a lot of reasons. And like the 2 seconds of the encounter that I have for you, like me paying for my coffee, makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's it. There's levels, right? And there's levels to what makes people happy. And like, it's cool. And it is funny when you see someone doing what could be looked at as like such a simple job, or like, I don't even know exactly how to word that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone doing, what, I don't even, I'm fucking done with that.
Okay.
Basically someone doing that, something as simple as that, like a Dean, and but he's just happy. Like, you're winning. It doesn't matter what you do for work.
You won life.
Yeah, you're winning.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's just find a couple things that truly make you happy, and just, I think it's Charles Bukowski that says like, you know, like find whatever you're really passionate about and just like let it drive you insane. Because you're winning, because you're happy.
Yeah. Happiness is the goal. And then expectation is the thief of happiness. That's another one I heard. I heard that,
I like that.
Comparison is also, but
Comparison is the thief of joy.
yeah. Expectations though, is that's where you get like screwed up, because people are like, oh, I wanna do all these things, but or like I want this like amazing relationship, but then you're like, wait, it's actually not everything that I wanted it to be.
Right.
When if you had no expectations and you just let whatever happen, you'd be pleasantly surprised.
It's true. I think it just like when you start investing time in people and things, you need some sort of expectation just to hold yourself to a certain level or standard. But of course, I mean, like, if this actually goes back to something I was saying, like, if you can't keep promises you make to yourself, you can never keep them to other people.
No.
So, yeah.
That's important.
I think we should just end it with the last question that I always ask everybody.
Oh, fuck.
What keeps you going?
What keeps me going?
Yeah.
I need to live a life that I'm proud of, and I need to be able to feel fulfilled that I was able to lost my thought. Lost my train of thought. Literally staring at the knobs on my desk.
No, you're
Fuck.
good.
All right.
You need to live a life that you're proud of and feel fulfilled.
And I just need to like make sure other people feel that way as well. Like what is someone gonna remember me as? Like, you know,
True.
How did that person make me feel? I want to make sure people feel like welcomed, loved, cared for, accepted. You know, I don't want anyone to ever feel alone. Yeah. So.
I think you do a good job of that. I mean, we came here. I ate some fruit.
Yeah.
You offered Nick some water and some fruit, though he did not take it. And then he just made fun of everybody. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you for your friendship.
Aw.
Yeah, that was cute, right? I think we should also preface, we're not dating.
We're not dating.
They're all social media things for dating. Yeah. But yeah, we're just good friends. Fuck it.
Besties.
So,